What's going on, my credit fiends? I am back. I know it's been a little bit, but I done told y'all I just moved and everything. I just got a new little dog, little golden retriever and stuff. I'm getting in the groove of everything. And crypto, honestly, crypto is just popping off right now. So I gotta get in where I fit in. I've been down bad all year. I really need to let you guys know about this 6-figure family thing that I got going on. Okay, I also do mentorships if you need some one-on-one. I know I answer questions down below, but if you need that one-on-one, I can, you know what I'm saying? I got you. We're cleaning for this credit together. So let me go ahead and show you what this 6-figure family thing is and how you can get 6 figures in credit for your family. Now, this is personal credit. This is not business credit. If you want business credit, well, I'm not there yet, okay? We gotta get on that personal level before we can even get to the business side. If you got your mom, your dad, let's say you got a brother and a sister, okay, all in the same household, or you got extended family all in the household, you guys can work together to get access to 6 figures in credit all together on your credit line, and it's going to exponentially boost your credit score. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna break it down and everything for you. The first thing that you're gonna want to do is make sure that everybody's in the household's credit is not jacked up. And what do I mean by that? I mean like no collections, no derogatory marks. You don't wanna have collections on anybody's thing, okay, anybody's credit profile, because you're gonna need to use everybody in your household's credit profile, all right? And if that's only gonna hold you back if they have derogatories or collections or just anything, no missed payments, things like that. It's only gonna make it harder for you guys to get access to that 6 figures, all right? Especially depending on your income. If you have a very high income, well, it's only gonna be that much easier. But if you're starting out low, like me, an everyday person, okay, making about, what, like 30K less, 30, 40K maybe, all right? You wanna be able to be up here. You don't wanna be stuck with them $2,000, $3,000 credit limits and then you can't use it. You go to the store or something, you get something you need and that's all you can do, all right? Your card's already maxed out or at 50% or above 30% even. So the first thing is no collections, no derogatories. If you got that, you need to go ahead and clean up your credit. You need to go somewhere, get it cleaned up. I promise you it'll be worth it because it's gonna save you a lot of money in the future and interest and things like that. Gather everybody's income, okay? Figure out what everybody's making. Not everybody is gonna know right off the top of their head, but figure out to a T what every person in your household is. So find out what your household income is. Now, these aren't in any type of order or anything like that. These are just my tips on how you can get the 6 figures for your family. Your household income, you need to figure out what that is because on these credit card applications, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but right where you put your income in, it tells you if you are over 21 years old, you may add anybody's income in your household that you have reasonable access to, in quotes, reasonable access to it. All right, so that's anybody in your household. So you can add up your income. So let's say everybody in your household, let's say there's 4 of you and everybody in your household makes $20,000 just for easy numbers, okay? Now you have a household income of $80,000. You can definitely get to 6 figures with a household income of $80,000. It doesn't really take too much. If you're trying to get multiple people, it's going to be a lot easier for you to get access to that 6 figures. Depending on if you guys already are coming to the table with credit cards, I'm talking if you're coming to the table fresh, okay? You're coming to the table fresh and clean, you don't have no collections, you don't have nothing going on. Your credit score, you never messed with credit or anything like that, is basically just sitting at like a 600, 700, somewhere around there, okay? Next thing you're gonna wanna do, you're gonna wanna know like what your credit score is. So how you're gonna do that is you're gonna go on Experian or you're gonna go on Credit Karma, one of the two. Experian is gonna give you a little bit more of an accurate score, okay? And then you can pay for it if you wanna see the rest of the scores. But Credit Karma normally does an all right job. I mean, it'll give you like a ballpark view of what your score is. It's not gonna be exact, and they also sell your information too. So you're gonna start getting a bunch of stuff in the mail. But if you look on the back of the paper, it'll tell you can call a number and you can opt out for I think 5 years or something, or you can do it permanently. So it's really up to you onto what you want to do exactly with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and write that down. Like I said, it's not in any type of order. These are just my tips or whatever. Figure out what your credit score is. Now that you know what your credit score is and everything like that, you're gonna go over and you're gonna go to Google and you're going to search best cards with pre-approvals. It's really just that simple, okay? And as you scroll down, you're gonna see Capital One, you're gonna see American Express, you're gonna see Wells Fargo. Okay, you're gonna see a bunch of different cards, but like, how do you know which ones you're supposed to be applying for? All right, again, it goes back with your credit score. That's why I had to make sure I reiterated that and brought that up, okay? Because like I said, it's not no type of order or anything like that. I don't know where you're coming from or anything like that. That's why I said get with me. I do mentorships so that way I can know your exact situation. But this is just a broad overview of how you can get to this 6 figures for your family, okay? So certain cards in here, you're going to be able to be pre-approved for, okay? And the pre-approval means that it's not going to impact your score. If you hit apply, then it's going to affect your score. But at the bottom, whenever you hit check for your pre-approval, it'll say this will not impact your score. So that's what you're looking for, because you're trying to shop around and see, okay, which of these cards can I even get approved for, first of all, okay? And also that's going to depend on your credit score and your income and things like that. So when you fill out the application, that's why I said that it's important that you know your household income, because it's gonna ask you for that, and that's gonna give you what they're gonna want to approve you for, okay? It's gonna play into those types of factors, along with if you have derogatory marks, if you have missed payments, things like that. Those are all gonna be factors. So that's why I say do the pre-approval, so you're not just out here just straight up applying for the card and getting denied. Because American Express, for example, you're gonna need higher than a 700. You're gonna need a pretty decent credit score to get approved with American Express, all right? If you're just starting out, they may or may not approve you. So pre-approval is your best way to go. If you want a longer list, you can go to NerdWallet. I do definitely like NerdWallet. Whenever I go and I search for cards, this is where I go most of the time. You can scroll down and you can see all the different issuers. You got Chase, you got Discover, you got Citi, okay? If I was gonna give a recommendation, obviously I have different videos on here. You can go check them out, but I would go to a credit union as my first thing. If you can get into like Navy Federal or USAA or anything like that, or DCU, I would go through there first and see if you can get a pre-approval through them after you establish some type of banking history. Okay, open up a checking account, get a couple of checks from your job coming in through there, build a relationship with the credit union, and then go ahead and see about if you can get a pre-approval for that. If you can't get pre-approved for anything or something like that, then you're gonna have to go the secured way, which is, I have a video on that as well. You can go ahead, get a secured card. They're gonna ask you to put like $500 up of your own money, and that's gonna be your credit limit. So if you don't pay it back, because they don't know what you got going on or anything. So if you don't pay that back, then you essentially just stole from yourself, okay? You use the money that you put up. And that's gonna be used as your credit limit instead of them giving you an unsecured line like a normal card where you borrow the money from them. You're essentially borrowing the money from yourself on the secured line. So that's if you can't get pre-approved for anything. But more than likely, if you don't have any collections, no derogatories and things like that, you could get a pre-approved for something, okay? So everybody in your household is going to get pre-approved for a card that has the highest limit. I mean, why not? And everybody's can be different, okay? You don't have to all get the same thing or something like that. Everybody's can be different. And I'm gonna tell you why in a second, all right? One of my recommendations are for, like if you're getting into your first card or something like that and you want a decent limit, I would probably go check out Capital One. If you're not gonna go with a credit union, if you're trying to go with a bank, I would go ahead and check out Capital One, because that Quicksilver card, it did me all right too with a pretty decent income. It wasn't like nothing too crazy as my first card, but you can always apply for a credit line increase. Every 6 months, as long as your account is in great standing, meaning that you have less than 10%, but more than likely if you're paying it off every month and stuff like that, it's gonna be a lot easier to get approved for a credit line increase. Now, you can do this about every 6 months. Some of them are every 3 months you can apply for it, but good rule of thumb is wait about 6 months or so, and then you can either apply for a new card or you can ask for a credit line increase, okay? Now, the credit unions are gonna do a lot better with the credit line increases, like Navy Federal and USAA, as long as you build that good relationship with them and you have direct deposits coming in and things like that. Now, after each one of you guys get your card, okay, all 4 of you guys, 3 of you guys, 2 of you guys, whatever the case is, after you do that, you're going to want to eventually add the other person as an authorized user. Now, what this authorized user is going to do, let's say one person gets approved for 5K, the other person gets approved for 2,500, another 2,500, and then the other person 5K. So that's 15,000 right there, okay? Let's say you guys all have 15,000 amongst all of you. If everybody adds everybody to those cards, everybody's gonna have access to those cards, but not everybody needs those cards. Does that make sense? So if, let's say I have my account and there's 3 other people I wanna add to the account, legally, anything that I do on my account is going to go to their accounts, their credit reports, if I add them onto my card as an authorized user. And legally, they're able to use that card and make purchases. Now you're all responsible for this. And that's why I said it's a family thing, because you gotta be able to trust whoever you're gonna add on to your credit, or whoever is adding you onto their credit, because now whatever they do is going to affect your credit, okay? So if you guys all four got $15,000 in that one swing, now you guys go all at each other. Now you're gonna have 4 accounts on your credit report, and you're gonna have a credit line of 15,000. Now, if you're staying under the good rule of thumb of 30%, well, you can use up to, or all together, if y'all could use up to 30% of that, okay? So however you wanna break it down, just I would make sure everybody's just paying them off and not really using them as much, okay? That would be the best thing if you're trying to run it up real quick. If you're trying to run up your limits real quick, you need to use them and then you need to pay them back. Everybody needs to be responsible on paying them back in full every month, because y'all are just starting out and the creditors want to see that you can build that good relationship of borrowing the money and paying it back immediately, all right? That's what's gonna help you get these every 6 month credit line increases, or every 6 months you guys can apply for credit. Now, your credit score is not gonna be the best at first when you're applying for new credit, only because when you apply for a new card, it drops your scores a little bit, okay? And that's fine. The first time you go around, you guys can all add each other to the card. The second time, you don't necessarily need to add each other to the card just yet. Reason why I say that is because if you have a bunch of other cards going on your credit report, it could be harder for the other creditors to approve you for the cards, because you have so many accounts with balances or whatever the case is. Hopefully there's no balances on there and you guys are being clean and you guys are paying off your stuff. But I would wait to do that second round and add them onto the as an authorized user until the credits age a little bit, and then you can also apply. Like, one person might be able to apply for a little bit more cards. Like, I might be able to do 2 cards in one because my score might be better than the next person that I'm doing this with. So I might be able to apply for 2, but I might not want to add both of those onto this person's score, because it's going to drop their score because they have a new account on their credit score. Now, it's not super heavy on the weighing scale, like as far as, you know, you got your utilization, you got your on-time payments and things like that, and you also have your credit age. Okay, so every time you add a new account to your credit profile, it's going to drop your score a little bit, because now your credit age, your average age is lower. So like, if you had a card that was 5 years old and then you get a new card that's 0 years old, it's going to cut that in half because you only have 2 cards. Now your average age is only 2.5 versus where before it was 5 years. So that's why I say don't add everybody all at one time. You can let them age a little bit and then you can go ahead and add them on there. But it's up to you guys how you want to do it. I don't know everything. I don't know exactly, like, if you do all add each other at the same time, how it's going to impact your score, because I did mine over the course of several years to get to 6 figures, or well over 6 figures, just with 2 people. So with 4 people, you can definitely do that. It may take you a couple years to be able to build those relationships with those banks and finally get those credit line increases, because like I said, it takes about 6 months. But there are ways that they can automatically increase your limits and you won't even have to do that. So like, let's say you get a $300 limit or a $500 limit, you can easily just go ahead and pay a bill with that. Like, let's say you guys all share a phone bill, okay? And the credit line is $500 and your phone bill altogether is $400. You can go ahead and charge that to the card. It's not gonna hurt to charge it to the card as long as you pay it back before it's due, okay? It's not gonna be like almost maxed out or whatever. Or even if you do let it go to the statement date and it is pretty close to maxed out and you pay it off the next time, you should be all right, okay? I wouldn't do this just the first time, but you should be all right after. If they see that you're using that full credit line and then you're paying it back, they're going to eventually automatically increase your credit limit, okay? And that's how you can get the automatic credit limits. Of course, I talk about that in my other videos and stuff. Go check them out. If you guys need help with this, if you guys need more information, if you want a longer video on explaining more detail, I don't know how experienced you guys are in this, but these are pretty much the tips. No collections, household income, pre-approvals, get your credit score right, okay? That goes with no collections and stuff like that, so I didn't write it at first. 6 months, every 6 months, you can ask for a credit line increase through your app. Some of them are going to do a hard inquiry, it just depends on the bank, but just make sure you know which ones they're gonna do it. Normally they tell you. And then you wanna add everybody as an authorized user. Again, only do this with people that you trust, because anything they do with their card is going to reflect over on yours, okay? And you can remove them if you need to. If anything happens like that, you can remove it off your credit report, all right? It still might show up like on Credit Karma and stuff like that, but you should be good, all right? This is how you can run up the six figures, okay? And once you get the 6 figures under your belt, once everybody you start becoming authorized user on everybody's and they start using yours and stuff like that, and you guys get a good little bit under your belt, like 60K, you're gonna be able to easily just apply for a card and get like a 10K limit right off the bat, okay? And then once you start doing that in your own name, then eventually you can take everybody off if you want to. They can remove you from your profile, because now you have those relationships with those banks in your name, because your social security number is attached to that when you add them to an authorized user. You already have that relationship with those banks. So then you can go on and be a sole survivor, do your own thing. But in my opinion, I still use the authorized user thing, even with people in my family and stuff like that, just to help them out, boost their score up a little bit. Or if they're using their cards a lot, they're real heavy on their cards and they need a little bit extra, meaning like, let's say someone I know is using like 20,000 of their credit cards and they only have like a $40,000 overall limit. Now they're using 50%, and that can really hurt their score. If I can add another 50,000 on there, that's gonna drop that utilization, okay? And that's gonna help them out. So if they went from using that 50% or whatever, now it's going to drop significantly, okay? It's gonna put them in a good range and it's gonna boost their score. Even if my accounts are less aged than theirs, it's still gonna help them out because their overall utilization, the 6-figure family, got them right. All right, we feeding for this credit. I'll catch you guys in the next video. If you guys need anything, let me know. I do mentorships and stuff like that. Please let me know. I'm here to help you guys. I'll catch you in the next one, and we feeding for this credit.